With Matt Jones of UC Santa Barbara, and we're about to head into the 2024 season. And Matt, wanted to ask you, you had a remarkable debut season, going 27-5 overall, 17-1 in the Big West, winning the regular season title. And the Gauchos also received the at-large to the NCAA tournament. Looking back at that 2023 season, what are some of the takeaways and reflections you've had being the first-year head coach?
Oh, I don't know. That's a great question. I feel like there's a lot of places we could go there. I think my biggest takeaway, honestly, was just gratitude. Like, pretty fortunate to be um, in that situation, to take over a program where you've been an assistant for many years, the team, the ins and outs of the administration. Just, I feel like we were set up for success in a lot of ways. And obviously, a season like that isn't just like a single season. It's not a byproduct of me being a first year head coach. It's a product of years of work. And, obviously we had a pretty senior heavy lineup, at least half of our 6'2", the whole passing core. And so we had a ton of experience. And so I'm just grateful to have gotten to take over a group like that in my first year being at the helm. But also, yeah, it was just a really, when you go 27-5, but you lose the last two games of the season, it like leaves, I don't know, everyone's probably just like a little bit disappointed in the way the Big West Conference tournament went and, losing our first round NCAA tournament game. But at the end of the day, we had a really special season, and I think we're proud of it. And that doesn't mean that we aren't left wanting more, but my biggest reflection is, one, gratitude, and two, just, I think we had a great group, and we excelled, and just enjoyed being a part of it. And now it's about figuring out what we can do to try and replicate that kind of success in the future.
Well, you've obviously had a lot of time with these girls because you were an assistant coming into the head coach's role. But did you have to tweak anything, or was it business as usual for you going into that first season, then entering postseason play?
I mean, I've told a lot of people this. So Nicole, like working with Nicole always went like really well. Like, she was a head coach who valued, I felt, not just me, I think other assistants, I'll speak for myself, but I felt like she valued my opinion, and we worked together on things. And the program wasn't exactly the same as it was, when I started as an assistant as when I took over as head coach. And so, again, I think change is typically, going to be smaller progressions that kind of stack up over time. And so, when I took over, the head coaching role, there weren't like massive things to change, because I felt like some things that I enjoy or wanted to see in the program, like Nicole had kind of allowed to seep in already.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, there were something, we're not going to agree on everything either. And so there were some things that, I wanted to do a little bit differently, which we did. And, some concepts with, like one specific one was some, layering our back row attack, like running it over the top of the middle instead of using multiple gaps with those two positions. And like, that's fine. Those are just like philosophical differences. And so we did a little bit more there and used the back row attack maybe a little bit more than we had in the past. But, we also had two senior outside hitters who'd been in the offense a long time. And so that makes it a lot easier to be successful in that concept when you have two seniors who end up all conference, right? So, maybe that would have been our natural progression either way, but that was something that I was passionate about and that we worked on. And, there's some other things as well. But I guess the shortest answer to your question would be it was mostly business as usual, with some small tweaks, for my and our new staff's personal preference.
All right. Well, it's actually a great transition into my next question for you, because you use a lot of really good pieces for the Gauchos. The Big West Player of the Year, Michelle Oabete, Big West Libero of the Year, McCall Peed. Then you had solid pin attackers in Brianna McKnight and Tasia Farmer. But you return all Big West honoree Andy Kraling and setter Grace McIntosh. What are your thoughts on how this team could look this year with two of those pieces coming back, and how's that going to complement everything else that you're going to be doing this season?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like undeniable, and we aren't afraid to talk about in our gym. Like, we have a lot of questions to answer. Of the teams in the top half of the conference, I think we have the most turnover in the starting lineup. You can fact check me on that one, but it feels like it on our end. And especially when you're talking about the passing core, like that matters, especially for us. We run a fast offense. We rely on being one of the better passing teams. And so, what are we going to look like? I cannot honestly answer that. Like, do I have an idea from the spring? Yeah, I have an idea, but there's no way to know for sure exactly what we're going to look like, because we're going to have so many new starters in the lineup. Now, yeah, it's very nice, to have, a setter coming back, right? All three of our setters that played last year are coming back, not just Grace. So we have that whole position group returning. And for our 6'2", that's vital. And on top of that, we have Sophie Rivas, who's kind of, coming back, who started on the right, will be an experienced pin playing either left or right for us this year. And then you mentioned Andy, but both of our middles come back as well, Andy and Whoosh. So we have enough pieces. Like, we have people that know what it felt like and what is required, to have that level of success. And the beautiful part too is, I think we had a big freshman class last year that a bunch of them redshirted. So while nothing can replace the value and the learning of true game experience, I think there's quite a few people that are going to be fighting for some of these spots that were in the gym competing against that group last year, day in and day out, and who understand our system. So it's not like we're relying on, this entire true freshman class coming in to replace those pieces. Now, some of them may, we compete every day in our gym. I really can't tell you right now what our lineup is going to be yet. But I know that we have, this redshirt freshman class, which is now, their second years, I think will have a lot of impact on the team, as well as, we brought in Leona Green, a transfer. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we look. But I know that our team is as hungry as ever, and they want to get out there and compete again. And there's a lot of people who are looking for their first chance to get on the court and have impact, and are excited to show people what they can do.
Well, that's interesting, because you mentioned you have 7 redshirt freshmen. Well, I was also looking at who you're bringing in. You have 7 notable freshmen and a transfer from Northern Iowa. So your gym's going to be pretty young, and you'll be working with a lot of younger ladies and coaching up and being a part of that maturity process. You've obviously been a coach for multiple years now as an assistant, now as the head, but how is that going to be like for you, taking the reins of developing not only the skills, but also the mentality of your athletes?
Yeah. That's like probably the biggest, that's what gets me the most excited about this year, is like what you're hitting on, right? I think over the last 3 seasons, we have produced a pretty consistently strong product, right? In 21 and 22, we finished second in the conference, and last year we won the regular season, right? But there was changes in and out. But I think the way a lot of people think about the game, like pin play and passing, play a big part in the sport. And that doesn't mean that the other positions don't matter. They all matter quite a bit, right? And you can tweak how your team plays to accentuate your strengths, of course. But a lot of people make the argument that passing and pin play might be the 2 biggest factors. Again, I'm not here to say what is right or wrong, but I think a lot of people might say that. And so I know there's a lot of people who are asking that question about, all right, what does our team look like when we get less experience at those positions? But as a coach, it's really exciting and fun to find out, like, are we good at training? Like, are we going to get these kids up to speed faster than people think? Like, and there's always kind of this debate of like, are really good programs, like, is there something just systemic in what they do that can be maintained from year to year? You're not going to be perfect every year, but like, I think really strong programs find a way to be really good year in and year out. I think in our conference, like the obvious example of that is Hawaii, right? They've always been good. And so the question is, how do you replicate that? And what is it about Hawaii that makes them that way? And so we're curious to find out, like, have we built something? Like, did we have a 3-year, a 3 to 4 year run of going from middle of the pack to near the top to winning the conference regular season? And now is that something that we can sustain, where we're we're a 1-2 type team year in, year out, like Hawaii? And if so, yeah, what is it about our program that makes us that way? I can't tell you because I don't know yet. We're about to find out over the next couple of years. But it's an exciting challenge and something that we're really looking forward to. But as far as giving you answers, like, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and like commit to things that I cannot back up. So who knows?
I can respect that for sure. Well, let me bounce this off of you. Do you and the team have a mission or a motivational statement that they're rallying around for during the 2024 season?
Ooh, I don't know if we have like a statement yet. We'll see. Sometimes that develops over double days. There's no like, catchphrase or anything. Sorry, I don't have any good like poster material for you on that one. But what I can say is that, I think that while we had an amazing season, like at the end of the day, the things changed last year, right? And when it went from being whoever wins the regular season is the Big West champion, right, to there's a regular season and a tournament champion, right? And so we do feel like we left something on the table in not winning the conference title tournament. And so I think I can sense it from like the seniors and juniors on this team that like they want to get back to that moment. I think we'll be at Irvine this year. Is that right? So we want to get back to that Big West Conference tournament. And of course, the goal every year is to finish in first in the conference. I don't know why we wouldn't set that as our goal at this point when we've finished where we finished the last 3 years. I think that has to be the goal and the mission. But as far as like, if the team gets back to that conference tournament, I think there's going to be another level of hunger where they really want to, feel that experience of not only, winning a regular season title, but getting to feel that tournament victory taste as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then from a bigger program perspective, winning, we do still have, I'd say like on our, 2 to 5 year goal list is like, we want to make a Sweet 16 for this program. Like that is on our list. And so that is, obviously a goal that in 2019, we got one part of the way there with that first round win. This year, I think we had a really good battle with Houston and they came out on top. But, we will continue to strive, hopefully we have multiple Big West teams in, that's the dream, right? And then, our goal would be to represent as best we can and make that second weekend.
Excellent. Final question for you. I've been asking this mainly for people who are newer to following Gaucho volleyball, but if you had to say a particular athlete or maybe 2 athletes on your team to watch, who would those 2 athletes be for, like, say, a rookie volleyball follower?
Let's see. Well, I think we could say Andy, who you mentioned earlier. A couple things about Andy, and I think I'll actually give you the main reason first why I picked her for like a beginner, someone new to volleyball. Andy like has some of the funniest celebrations, and like she has like a lot of energy for the game, and like so sometimes it's goofy, sometimes it's super joyous with her teammates, sometimes it's like, I want to kill you, like intensity, right? But like she is not afraid to show her emotions on the floor, and I think that for a beginner, someone who's watching the game, like I think it's entertaining, and I think she plays the game the right way. And also if you are a middle, I think technically she's a very sound blocker. She works hard in transition. Like obviously there's a reason she was a starter for us. She plays the game well, but I think just from the novice standpoint, like if you're going to be new to our sport, you want to see someone who's really bringing excitement and joy and passion to the game. And I think Andy, does that really well. And all right, should I give you someone who didn't start last year so we can have some diversity?
Sure, if you'd like. But that was a great answer. I think it's one of the best ones we've had so far.
Who else? See, the problem is if I pick anyone else, then I'm committing to that person would have to start, and I feel like you're putting me in a box here. So,
all right, Andy's a good one then.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned GMAC earlier as well. I'll just do our 2. They were both elected our captains. I can just tell you that. I don't think that's a big deal, a big secret. Like, yeah, I mean, GMAC is another one. I think GMAC does a really good job of like connecting with her teammates on the floor. I think she's a great person to learn from there. Like as a setter, she does a good job of like engaging with hitters when they're up or down, finding that way to build that connection. And then I think she gets underappreciated because she's in a 6'2", but I think, you know, she was really, really good for us last year in that S1 spot. She's a great defender. She's not like the most physically gifted. She doesn't have the livest arm in the gym, but she's a super accurate server. She can hit multiple depths. She can drop a short serve. So I just think she's someone who, has gotten really, really proficient at the skills of the game. So beginner, probably another good model to just kind of take a look at, especially if you're a young setter.
Fantastic answers. I appreciate it. Hey, Matt, thank you for your time today, and I look forward to catching you this season here in Big West Conference play.
All right, man. Sounds good. Appreciate the time. Thank you.